Hello, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, depending on what part of the world you are listening to me from. How are you? I hope you had a very nice weekend. I did. I had a very lovely weekend. Thank you so much for tuning in again today to join me on our talk show. Let's share it. Before anything, I think I want to say a very big thank you. This time last week was my birthday. Thank you so much for all of you who phoned me, those who sent me messages, those who sent me presents, those who donated to Listening Ears Charity, because I specifically requested that I didn't want anybody to give me any present, that whatever present they want to give me, they should donate the value of it to Listening Ears. But I want to say a big thank you to those who decided to do both. They donated and they still gave me presents. In spite of the lockdown, they came to drop some presents at my door. So I want to say thank you to everybody. I am so grateful. And those of you who have promised that you want to donate to mark my birthday, I'm still waiting for your millions. I'm still waiting for your donation in our account. Please, our account details are on our website. So I'll be looking forward to seeing your donation. Yeah, tonight on our talk show, we are looking at our emotional wellness tonight. And before I get into that, because of those who are watching us for the first time, I want to tell you a little bit about our charity Listening Ears. Well, because I'm here on behalf of Listening Ears, and Listening Ears is an award-winning charity, and we've been in the Royal Borough of Greenwich for the past 14 years, still counting. Yes, at the end of October, we clocked 14, and we have been set up as out of a heartfelt concern about the level of isolation, particularly among the elderly people. So we provide emotional health and lifestyle support service. We have three areas where we are passionate about affecting our community positively. And the areas is number one, about reducing the level of isolation among elderly people. And then our second area of passion is about supporting and empowering and nurturing young girls on their journey to adolescence. And then, of course, we support people to take small steps of change to achieve total well-being. And in accordance with those three areas of passion, we have a couple of projects we have established in the community through which we are providing support in the community. We have our feel-good centers, which is our centers, our drop-in centers for the elderly people. We have two of them. We have one in Thamesmead and the other one in Abbeywood. The one in Thamesmead runs every Wednesday, and the one in Abbeywood runs on Fridays. And since the lockdown, thank you for those of you who are logging in on Facebook. Thank you so much. Since lockdown, we have had to move our services, all our workshops and drop-in sessions, we've moved them online. So for our elderly people, they do their exercises online now on Zoom every Wednesday and Friday. So if you are out there and you have anybody over 50 who you think would benefit, of course, everybody would benefit from some exercises, particularly because of the restriction about going out. We don't want you to be eating and just sitting down at home. So you are welcome. You can send an email to feelgoodcenters@gmail.com or to help@listeningears.org. And then for our girls project, which is the Rosebud Center for Girls, the workshops to have moved online. We run the workshops every evening from Tuesday to Friday between 5 and 6 p.m. And on Saturdays, we run the workshop from 11 a.m. to 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Usually on Saturdays, they have their cookery club. They probably do some baking or they do some cooking. So those are the projects that we run. We used to also run a befriending program, which we tag the project as Community Angels. But since the COVID, we haven't been able to send any volunteers, because what we do is recruit volunteers, obviously DBS check them, and then pair them up to people in the community so they can go out to visit them in their homes. But we haven't been able to do that since COVID. So the only thing we are doing is telephone befriending. So we still call the people to just make sure they are fine. So if you are out there and you have a little time in your hands and you want to volunteer to make a difference to the life of other people, please get in touch with us, because we still need some volunteers. Now, for our talk show today, I said we are going to talk about emotional wellness. That's what we are going to look at today. And if you want to contribute to what I am saying, or you have a question, you can type it in the chat box, and both on YouTube and on Facebook. You can type it in any of the chat boxes. On the other hand, you can make a phone call. The number to call is 07554 655 695. 07554 655 695. You can send a text, or you can send a WhatsApp message on that number. So let's get kicking. Our topic today, like I said, is emotional wellness, which is the ability to successfully handle the various stresses of life and adapt to change during difficult times. I hope you heard me, successfully manage, because a lot of people, they find it difficult to be able to manage challenging or difficult times. So emotional wellness is our ability to be able to manage those difficult times. When we are able to do that, then that means emotionally we are at the right place. Emotional health, as it is on its own, is a very important part of our overall health, because emotional health allows us to work productively and to cope with the stresses of everyday life. It can also help us to realize our full potential, because if we are not emotionally healthy, it's going to be difficult to be able to achieve our full potential or to fulfill destiny, as it were. And then it also helps you to work with other people and to contribute to your immediate community or to the society at large. So people who are emotionally healthy, they are usually in control of their thoughts, they are in control of their feelings, they are in control of their behavior. So if there is any of these three areas that we see that we are not really having it together, we need to take a very close look at our emotional health. They can keep problems in perspective. People who are emotionally healthy, they are able to keep problems in perspective, and then they are able to bounce back from setbacks, because you see, setbacks will always come to human beings anyway. There is nothing we can do about it. We can't stop it. The only thing we can do is how we manage it. So people who are, when we are emotionally healthy, it wouldn't be too difficult to be able to bounce back when we get into some kind of setback or the other in life. And then one other thing that we find in people who are emotionally healthy is that they feel good about themselves, and they usually enjoy very good relationships. However, being emotionally healthy does not mean you are happy all the time. Don't get me wrong. It just means that you are not only aware of your emotions, but you are actually able to manage the emotions, and you are capable of dealing with whatever emotions, whatever situations you find yourself, whether they are positive emotions or whether they are negative emotions. Your emotional health will enable you to be able to manage those circumstances and adapt as need be. Then emotionally healthy people, they still feel the stress, don't get me wrong. They feel stress, they feel the anger, they feel the sadness, they feel every other thing that everybody feel, but they know how to manage their negative feelings, because that is the crucial thing that we are really talking about tonight. how to manage those feelings that come to us during different kinds of situations. And people, when we are emotionally healthy, we are able to tell when a problem is more than what we can handle on our own. And then we know when to seek help, either from friends, either from loved ones, or even from the doctor. So when we are emotionally healthy, we're able to identify this kind of situation, and then we know that, you know what I have in my hands at the moment is not something I can actually deal with. I need to get some help. Research has actually referred to emotional health as a skill because, I have promised you that anytime I want us to talk about anything, obviously I'll do my own research, which I'm going to add to whatever knowledge or skills or education I have had about that particular topic. But I'll still go out to do some research and make sure that the information I give you is not only authentic but also reliable. So researchers, I found out when I was digging into this, they have actually referred to emotional health as a skill. So that means it is something we can develop, which is a good thing. That means it's something we can develop if we are currently not in the right place in terms of our emotional health, because there is nothing wrong with us not being there at the appropriate place as far as we are concerned with our emotional health. But the fact that we can learn the skills to be able to move to the point where we are emotionally healthy, then that's good news, isn't it? And then emotional health, it also affects our physical health. Then research again shows that there is a link between an upbeat mental state and physical signs of good health. And this includes lower blood pressure, reduced risk of heart disease, and even a healthier weight. So as I've pointed to you earlier, emotional health is a skill, as I've said. Therefore, today we will go through some steps that we can take to improve and maintain our emotional health. And of course, we'll be much happier when we're able to do that. Now, the very first thing I'm going to advise or proffer is to say that we should be aware of our emotions and our reactions. You see, the thing is, it is very important for us to notice what are the things in life that make us sad, things that make us frustrated, things that make us angry. Because you see, it's different for everybody. But our ability to be able to identify these things and to deal with them, to address them, or to change them. Because you see, we have the power of change is always in our hands. So we can afford to change those circumstances. But one of the key things we need to do first is to identify those circumstances and be able to know that, if something like this happens to me, it makes me not too happy. This makes me upset, this makes me angry. So if we can identify all those things, that is the first step to our emotional health. And then, of course, dealing with those things appropriately. And then we need to be able to express our feelings in an appropriate manner. I said appropriate because a lot of times people express their feelings, but it is in inappropriate ways, not in appropriate ways. It is important to let people who are close to us, it's important to let them know when something is bothering us. Because you see, if we bottle up things inside us, it causes problems and is always negatively affecting our relationships. Because you see, when we bottle up stuff, we continue to feel worse and worse about it. And then, of course, we have a tendency of lashing out, even in very unnecessary circumstances. But you see, the thing is, there is something that makes us incapable of handling issues when we are emotionally unbalanced. So that is why it is so crucial, once we are going through something that we don't like, we talk about it and then we try to sort it out. Because if we don't do that, the next thing we are going to do is that we are going to bottle it up. And the moment we bottle up stuff, it will create some kind of anger, some sadness, some stress, and then ultimately it is going to affect our relationships. And that's what we don't want. So the next thing I'm going to advise us to do in order to boost our emotional health is to think before we act. A lot of times people act before they think. That's why people find it very easy to just say, oh, I'm sorry, I did that because the person annoyed me. You know what? When I was in secondary school, I had a teacher who was teaching me. I think the teacher was trying to teach me about integrity. And one key philosophy he gave me that I will never forget in life is that he said, Tony, the way to keep your integrity is to feel too big to say sorry. And I don't mean that in a negative way. Don't get me wrong. What he was trying to say exactly is that before you say anything, you calculate it very well. Calculate it, think about it, think about what is going to be the likely reaction or response or whatever to that particular situation, to that expression, and then such that you won't have to now go back and tell the person, oh, I'm sorry, I said that or I did that because I was annoyed or because I was upset. He said when people feel when they find it too easy to apologize, they have no integrity because they could have avoided that situation in the first place. So he taught me that you need to think very well before you act and then before you say anything so that you won't have to come back to swallow your words. So that is what he meant when he said, always try and feel too big to say sorry. That means mind yourself, mind your speech, mind your action, so that whenever you do whatever you do, you wouldn't have to go back there and be apologizing, particularly for something that you could have avoided. I mean, for statements you could have avoided saying, or for attitudes you could have avoided putting up. Maybe you just lost your temper because somebody was silly or was nasty. I mean, it doesn't make you smaller if you just take your cool at that particular time and be watchful or careful before one responds. So that is my third hint, that we should think before we act for our emotional health. It is a very important point. Now, we need to strive for balance. We need to find a very healthy balance between work and play, and between activity and rest. We need to make time for things that we enjoy. You see, because they say all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. I mean, that's what I always, when I talk to my girls at Rosebud, usually some of them, if there are certain workshops that they didn't attend, particularly if there are workshops that I know that they are good in, and if I say, oh, you didn't attend this, oh, auntie, hey, I was busy. I have a lot. I want to do my homework. They just say certain things, but I try to tell them, you know what? It is very important to balance life. You don't want to be all brains and no manners. You don't want to be all brains and no courtesy, different skills of life that you will learn outside your academics. They are also important. The same thing with those who are adults. We have to get a balance between our work and our play. We have to get a balance, particularly between our activity and our rest. We have to make time for things that we enjoy, and then we focus on the positive things that are in our lives. So that's another thing. Another thing we need to do is to find purpose and meaning. We need to figure out what is important to us in our lives, because you see, what is important to you is different from what is important to me. But it is important that you find what is important to you in your life, and then you focus on those things. This could be your work, it could be your family, it could be volunteering for a particular charity, it could be supporting somebody as a caregiver, it could be something else, it could be anything. But as long as you make sure that you spend your time doing things that feels meaningful to you. I mean, things that you enjoy. It is so important, because when we are doing things that we enjoy, we do it with a lot of zeal. Then it is almost difficult to get tired or to get bored, because those things are important to us, and we get meaning from doing them. So it is very crucial, whatever we are doing, to find meaning and to find purpose in them. Because if we don't find purpose, if we don't find meaning, we wouldn't really give it our all. And you know what is always said, what is worth doing at all is worth doing well. So it is very crucial. Now, one more key thing is that we should manage stress. You see, everybody feels stressed at different times. From time to time, all of us, every human being, feel stressed at one point or the other. As even though stress is a bad thing, but there are sometimes stress can be good, because it could give you a rush of energy when you need it. But if it lasts for a long time, then that's what is called chronic stress. And all those high alert changes, they become harmful rather than being helpful. So we have to learn the healthy ways to cope with stress, and we'll be able to boost our resilience. So it is very important to learn relaxation methods to cope with stress. And today I'm going to give us some tips about how we can manage stress. And I hope you are jotting down stuff, because this is a very crucial issue, problem for a lot of people. Now, one of the first important things in managing stress is to get enough sleep. Get enough sleep. Even just the usual, sometimes during the day, it's just good for us to take a nap, because sometimes when we start the day we at some point our body, even our body is telling us that, you know what, you are tired. We get up and go and relax a little bit. But night, it is very crucial to get enough sleep. Then it is important to exercise regularly. Even if we do only 30 minutes a day, maybe for walking, or it doesn't have to be very exerting exercise. Even if it is just walking, leisure walking, 30 minutes a day, as long as we do it consistently, it is so crucial and very helpful to help us to reduce our level of stress. And you know what? If we take a walk every day, do you know that it even boosts your mood? If one takes a walk every day, it boosts your mood, it clears your head. The benefits of walking, they are endless benefits. Then another thing we need to do to manage stress is that we need to set our priorities. We need to decide what must get done and what must wait. And we need to be able to say no to some task if it is putting us into overload. You see that particular point? I am also very guilty. So much so that very recently, as a matter of fact, yesterday, I decided to do my 7-day plan, and I have promised myself that I'm going to stick to it. So it's not like I'm condemning anybody out there. I'm also guilty of this. I'm guilty of overload. And so many of us are guilty of overload, because we are like, oh, I have so many things to do, which is true. I mean, like me now, but sometimes at the end of the day, sometimes when I look back and check the day out, and I look at the amount of things I've done, a lot of times I just start wondering, Daddy, where did I get all this energy from? Because there is so much I would have put together in one single day. So I am equally guilty of overload. So it's not just you out there. Almost everybody is guilty of overload. So my counsel to us today is that we need to set priorities. So we decide what must get done and things that can wait. I mean, things that heavens won't fall if we don't do them today. For goodness sake, let's let's push them till tomorrow. Yeah. Then we need to think positive. At the end of the day, we need to note what we have accomplished, and then not what we have failed to do. Because you see, a lot of times people are so hard on themselves when the day ends. Maybe if they did, and I've been there. So I'm not just preaching to you what I am not guilty of. Well, I was guilty of it, but I've learned better now. So a lot of times when we have our to-do list and we check it at the end of the day, and we look at the things that are not yet done, a lot of times that is what we focus on, rather than to be grateful for the ones we were able to do for the day. You see, we need to imbibe this principle of a half full cup instead of half empty. It is a very good attitude to be gratitude. I mean, to be grateful. Gratitude is a very good what do I call it? Very good thing to do, to imbibe in our lifestyle. Attitude of gratitude, so that we are grateful for the things we've been able to do that day, and not focus on the ones we are not able to do. I mean, there is tomorrow. So whatever we are not able to do today, let's be grateful for the ones that we can do. And then when it's tomorrow, it is another day. But then what it's teaching us is that we have probably put too much in a to-do list for that day, and that's why we couldn't finish it. So we need to try and prioritize things. Prioritize, yes, that's the word. We need to prioritize things and do the things that are needful today, and learn to be able to shift the things that could be shifted into another day. And then one of the other things we need to do to be able to manage stress is to try relaxation methods. It could be what some people call mindfulness. It could be deep breathing. They say it's so good to breathe deeply, and then just make it a way of life. Then some people do some meditation, some people do yoga, some people do Tai Chi. All those things, they are relaxation exercises, and they are really very beneficial. I remember before the lockdown, one of the exercises that our elderly service users that they always do was this Tai Chi. And it's so lovely, it's so relaxing. I mean, you would think because it's always done with very gentle, lovely, cool music, and then you are moving different parts of your body, you are winding down, you are relaxing. It is just so beneficial. It's very good. So one has to find a way of relaxing, of winding down, and we need to do that on a daily basis, no matter for how short a period. Even if we decide that our winding down time is only 10 minutes or 15 minutes, it is very crucial that we do it on a regular basis, so our bodies will get used to it and will be grateful to us for it. And then we need to seek help. If we need to seek help from a professional, if we feel that we are unable to cope, particularly when somebody has started to have suicidal thoughts. Because you see, these suicidal thoughts, sometimes some people feel it is something that is so far away. It's very near to a lot of people. A lot of people, they use drugs, or they douse themselves in alcohol just to be able to calm down when they cannot cope. But rather than doing all this, it is better to seek help, to speak to somebody, outside of us, so that we can get some support. And then finally, what we need to do is that we need to get good quality sleep. So, because that goes on to taking care of our physical health. Because if we fit in, one of the major challenges that we have, and this one again, I'm also guilty of it. So it's not just you out there. One of the major terrible things or bad things, I'm trying to look for the appropriate word here, that we do, is that we try to fit in everything we want to do in one day. And what is always paying the price is our sleep. That's what we sacrifice most of the time. And like I said, I'm also guilty for that. But I'm trying, I've started repenting now. I'm trying to make sure I have as much sleep as I can. The idea, you remember one of the previous episodes that we spoke about sleep, that I shared with you about the benefits of sleep. Then we agreed that between 7 and 8 hours is what we should have every day for an average adult. So I've started repenting because I used to have very few hours of sleep because of so many things that I have to do. But we can't continue like that. We can't be running on an empty. We have to make sure we refill our energy. So it is very important not to sacrifice our sleep because it affects both our mental and our physical health. So it is very vital to our well-being, whether we sleep well or we don't sleep well. It's very, very crucial. And you see, when we are tired, the reality of the matter is we cannot function at our best. That's one key thing. So it will be like what they call, how do they say that thing? Penny wise, pound foolish. Because you see, if we are trying to cramp everything we need to do in one day and deprive ourselves of sleep, we end up being useless to ourselves mentally. Because when you lack enough sleep, naturally you'll be tired. And when you are tired, you can't run at your best. And then one of the key benefits of sleep, good sleep, adequate sleep, is that it allows us to think more clearly. And then it enables us to have quicker reflexes. It enables us to focus better. So it is so important for us to take steps and make sure we get regular good night sleep. It's very crucial. Like I said, I've started repenting. So please, I want everybody to repent like me. Have very good sleep every night. Then I'll give you some tips of how to get better sleep, better quality sleep, because everything has some kinds of procedure that one has to try and key into if you want to get the best out of the thing. Now, one of the key things is that you need to, because I went to find out, go and dig, how can one get better quality sleep? You'll be amazed at things that I found. It says you go to bed at the same time each night and wake up at the same time in the morning. I didn't realize that was important. But I found that out, that if we go to bed at the same time in the evening, thank you so much for tuning in. If you go to bed at the same time in the evening and we wake up at the same time in the morning, it says it allows us to have very good quality sleep. Then it says we need to sleep in a dark, quiet, comfortable environment. Well, that one, when I saw it, I need to be honest with you, because for me, I don't like it when it is too dark. So some of these things, you just find out what works for you and you start working on it. Before, I used to sleep under very bright lights. But now, if I have very dim little light in one corner, I'm fine. So I'm really improving, seriously. So I want to believe that at some point, God will help me. I'll be able to get to a point that even if there is no light in the room at all, I'll be able to just sleep. Then another tip to get quality sleep is to exercise daily. You see how exercise came in again. This exercise is so beautiful to do. Very, very beneficial, but not right before bedtime. You can't. You can't exercise and then go to sleep. You have to make sure you leave quite a lot of space of time. Then before we go to sleep, we need to limit the use of electronics before we go to sleep. Then we need to relax before bedtime. And that kind of relaxing, maybe we want to have maybe a warm shower, maybe a bath soak. Oh, it's nice if one can have a bath soak before you go to sleep. Every once in a while, I try to have a bath soak, and it's very nice to put some salt and all that in your bath, and then very warm, sometimes hot, and then of course the hot bathtub, because it starts getting cooler and cooler. It's lovely. And then if you get some of this oil and put in it, maybe like lavender oil or any of those, or eucalyptus, or you can put some, what's that other one again now? I think some peppermint. They're very good. If you put it in your bath soak and you have a soak, ah, it's lovely. You will enjoy a very good night's sleep. And then you need to avoid alcohol or any kind of stimulant just before you go to sleep. But if you're having any problem in sleeping normally, then you need to consult your doctor or your medical practitioner, because it is so crucial. You must never allow your physical health to hinder your emotional health. Then one other thing we need to do to be able to enjoy optimum emotional health is that we need to connect with other people. We cannot be a lone ranger. If we are a lone ranger, if we are a loner, we can never have a very good emotional health. So we have to connect with other people, because our social connection, it helps us to protect our health and to lengthen our lifespan. In fact, scientists, they are finding out now that our links to others, it can have very powerful effect on our health, both emotionally and physically. So whether with romantic partners or family or friends or platonic friendships or neighbors or any kind of friendship, social connection, it can actually influence our biology and our well-being. So it is very crucial for us. So we need to make new friends. You can organize things like lunch dates, maybe coffee dates with friends. You can join a group. You can even say hello to strangers. It's so crucial to make positive connections with other people. There are some people, they find it so difficult to say hello to strangers. I'll give you a joke. There was a day I was on the bus, and with me, I have a ready-made smile. So as usual, when I get on the bus, anybody I find sitting beside, hello, good afternoon, hello, good morning, or good evening, as the case may be. So this particular day, I will never forget that day. So I got on the bus, and then I found this woman, quite elderly person actually. She was, I'm sure she will probably be maybe in her 70s or going to 80s or something. I'm very poor at guessing people's ages. Anyway, she was quite elderly. So she was sitting next to, I came on the bus, she was already sitting down. And then, of course, I was going to sit beside her. And me with my ready-made smile. And I just say, hello, good afternoon. You need to see the expression on her face. It's unbelievable. And she just said, well, what's good about the afternoon? And I thought, oh my God. I said, look at the beautiful sky. Look at the sun. The sun is shining. And she now said, oh, I didn't know there are still people in London who have time to say hello to other people. Oh, I said some of us are still here. Because she found it so strange. She found it so unusual. You see, because the thing is, everybody is so busy, running about, jumping around, saying they are doing their things. They don't even have time to say hello to somebody. And you see, there is a particular kind of a chemical that, but healthy one, that it releases in your body when you are happy, when you connect with other people. In fact, some of them, I'm sure even scientists, they've not been able to really pin down what it is. Don't you see that they said even laughter is medicine? So you see, when we are joyful, particularly from within, not about what is just happening around us, because it takes being joyful from within to see a stranger and to say hello to them. It takes being joyful from within, because I think we were discussing, I think it was in the church. I don't remember. I think it was on the Bible study class that we were talking about difference between happiness and joy. Because for happiness, happiness has to be tied to something. Maybe something around you has made you happy. But joy is more powerful because joy is from within. When we are joyful, it is even difficult to explain why we are joyful because it's from within. But happiness, it has to be something around us. It has to be tied to something. So when we say hello to a stranger or to a neighbor, or we try to help people, the joy that we get is from within. That one transcends happiness. It's from within, and it is very healthy. It is very beneficial to our health. That's why even scientists, they have said that they have linked the effect on our health, both emotionally and physically, what connecting with the other people, what it does for us. So that's a very key, it's a very key thing that we need to start to do. Those of us who, there are some people, they will only talk to people that they know. If they go anywhere, they just stay on their own. For some people might say they are shy. For some people, it's even pride, But whatever it is, the important thing, as per that is related to what we are talking about today, what we are sharing and the encouragement we are giving each other, is that it is important to connect to other people, even strangers, to say hello to them. Then, and I'll give you some tips on how we can build healthy support systems. We need to build very strong relationships with our children and our family. It is so crucial, so key. And then we need to get active, you see, because if we don't have good relationship with our family and our loved ones, when there are challenges, we won't feel, I'm trying to find the right way to express this now. We won't feel too comfortable to start to ask them for help. Because you see, we weren't saying hello to them for starters. We only call them when we need them. And you see, the moment people notice that you are only using them, they too they get a little weary and then they withdraw. So it is very crucial that we maintain very strong relationships with our friends, with our loved ones, with our family, with our children. It is crucial not to only call people when we want to ask for things from them. I mean, if we call friends just to say hello to them. Hello, how are you? I just want to see how you're doing. Not necessarily because we want to take something from them. If we can do it, it's really very good. Then, if we can get active and share good habits with friends and family. And then, if you are like a family caregiver, you need to ask for help from other people. Because you see, when you are looking after somebody, there is a very high tendency of overworking yourself and overburdening yourself emotionally. So it is always very good to ask for help from other people. And then another thing we can do is we can join a focus group, or maybe our favorite hobby. We try, and maybe it's reading, maybe it's hiking, painting, arts and crafts, jewelry making, sewing. We find things that interest us, and then we join a group that is doing it. Because when we, not only are we going to be able to fulfill our own natural interest, but then we'll be able to connect with other people, make friends with them, do things together. The more the merrier, generally speaking. And the long lasting effects of all these things is down to our emotional health at the end of the day. Then we can always maybe join a class to learn something new, something we didn't know about before. We can learn something new. We can volunteer for things that we care about in the community. Maybe we look for a charity that is doing something that is close to our heart. Maybe you come and volunteer for listening ears, for instance. That's something good you can do with your time. You can volunteer in your school, with your children's school. Maybe you can volunteer as a governor in the school, or you can volunteer in your library, local library. I mean, I'm sure they're always looking for volunteers who can support in the libraries. Or you can even volunteer in your church. But it's very good to make good use of our time, using it to benefit other people. It is very important because it should not always be about me, myself, and I. We should start to think about other people and do something to support other people. Then my next tip for us to be able to enjoy emotional health is about brightening our outlook. You see, people who are emotionally well, they have fewer negative emotions. And like I said at the beginning, it is easier for them because they have fewer negative emotions. It is easier for them to bounce back from difficulties than those who have more negative emotion. And that's called resilience. When people are resilient, it shows that their emotional health is quite good, and then they are able to hold on to positive emotions longer, and then they are able to appreciate good times. Even though the bad times they won't complain too much, but they look at the good times, they stay positive and focused on the good things in their lives, and then they spend time with very positive, healthy and positive people. Because you see, in life, if we don't learn to be grateful for the things, I tell people that if we wake up in the morning, if we start to count the things that God has done for us, the things for which we are grateful, maybe His protection, His provisions, different things for our children, for this, for that. Trust me, if we continue to focus on that and start thanking God and thanking God and thanking God, by the time you finish cataloging the things that He has done for which you are grateful, so that you can now start to look at the things He has not done. Trust me, it's already the end of the day. Try it. Try it tomorrow. Try it, you see, because it is important for us to learn to be grateful for the things we have rather than complaining about things that we don't have. You see, even in scriptures, the Bible says with prayer and thanksgiving, we should make our request known. So it is inside our thanksgiving that we will present our request. So that means thanksgiving is more important. And you see, even in the regular world, they say that if you are grateful, a child who is grateful for what you did for him yesterday, he will get another thing today. It's very natural. If you did something for somebody, if you help the person, and the person is like, oh, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I mean, if they come back, you will do something again. It's just natural. So the same way, if we are grateful for the things that God has done for us, if we are grateful for the things life has thrown at us, things that life has been good to us about, if we are grateful for them and spend less time mourning about things that we don't have, we will be better off. We will be better. It will make us receive more. Then it will improve our emotional health because we won't have any opportunity to be miserable. We need to try all these things. Then we need to, I'll give you tips to develop a positive mindset, because that is very important. Because if we don't develop a positive mindset, we'll only be thinking about negative things. And the moment we start to think about negative things, we're already running down the drain of emotional ill health. So it is very crucial to have a positive mindset. So, and one of the tips I'll give you to have a positive mindset is to remember your good deeds. Give yourself credit for the good things you have done for other people each day. Because you see, I always say when we wake up, we should try and see what can we contribute into the life of somebody else. Our daily life should never always be me, myself, and I, but about thinking about other people. What can I do to help Lagbaja? What can I do to help this person? What can I do to support this other person? What can I do to change this circumstance? What can I do to help in this situation? It's so crucial for us to think about all those things and not just about me, myself, and I. It's very important. Another way we can develop positive mindset is about forgiving ourselves. Because you see, the thing is, everybody does make mistakes. They say to err is human, only God is divine. Every one of us make mistakes every day. In fact, countless number of times. Why did the Bible say that when somebody offends you, forgive them 70 times, 7 times in one day? That means people can make mistakes endless number of times every day. You see, but the key that I'm going to give us today, if we do make mistakes, is that we should learn from what went wrong and not dwell on it. Something has gone wrong. There isn't actually most of the time anything we can do about it, but we learn from it and we don't dwell on it. Then we forgive ourselves. Because a lot of times, many people, they don't forgive themselves. Even when God has forgiven them, they still hold on to the sin or to the mistake or to the misdemeanor, and they just can't forgive themselves. They keep beating themselves up, and unfortunately, it ain't gonna change what has happened. Instead, it's going to be a terrible big dent on our emotional health. So it's important to forgive ourselves, and while I say that, it is also important to forgive other people. Because if we don't forgive other people, unforgiveness, like we were taught in a counseling training, they said unforgiveness is like eating poison and expecting the other person to die. That is exactly what unforgiveness does to you, because it is eating up your being, eating up your liver, eating up your kidney, because you couldn't forgive somebody. And unfortunately, most of the time, the person that we don't want to forgive, he has moved on. They don't even realize that they have offended us. In some situations, they are not even aware. So we need to forgive ourselves and forgive other people. And then we spend time with our positive friends, our friends who have positive outlook to life. Because they say, show me your friends, I will tell you who you are. We need to spend time with friends who are positive. When we are friends with some people, the moment we know that they are negative, we should just check out from that particular moment. Because the thing is, anybody who cannot add to us, we should not even stay around there. We should not. So we have to ensure that our friends that we are spending time with, that we are surrounding ourselves with, they are people who are positive, who will speak positivity into us, who will speak encouragement into us, not the people who will, just douse whatever desires or vision that we have, who will just keep saying, do you think you are going to be able to do that? So we don't need such friends if we want to maintain, actually, if we want to achieve emotional health in the first place. Because if we don't achieve it, we can't even maintain it. So we cannot afford to stay with people or in the presence or in the company of people who are negative. You have to surround yourself with people who are positive looking people, people who will encourage you, people who will speak faith into us. Those are the people we need around us. And then finally, in the tips I want to give us on how to have a positive mindset, we need to explore our beliefs about the meaning and purpose of life. We should think about how to guide our life by the principles that are important to us. We have our values. We cannot afford to be changing our values because we have friends, because it even shows we don't have any focus in life. So, and it is very important for us to have a focus. When we have a focus, you see, it might take time to be able to make certain friends. But you see, the moment people know what we stand for, those who are actually supposed to be in our crowd, they will find us. And those who are not supposed to be in our crowd, trust me, they will just ease off. They will ease away by themselves. You won't even need to fight with them. You won't need to tell them off. They will just ease out of your life. Somehow, I don't even know how nature does it. So it is important for us to have our own values, identify what our values are, know our values, and stand firm on our values. And that is what we should project to other people. And this is our value, so that those who can, because they say, can two work together except they agree. So you see, the thing is, we cannot work with people who don't share the same values like we share, because it is either they are going to draw us back or they are going to derail us completely. And we don't want people who are going to derail us. You need somebody who is going to keep kicking you on towards your destiny and towards your focus, towards your goal. So now the final thing I want to talk about in terms of our emotional health today is coping with loss, because loss usually it plays a very big role in kind of pushing around one's emotional health. Because when somebody we love, when they die, most of the time our world changes, and there isn't a right or wrong way to mourn. Everybody mourn in different ways. And seriously speaking, to be honest with you, I started to appreciate this more when I lost my mom, because everybody mourns in a different way. But whatever works for people, one should try and work it out. Although the death of a loved one, it can really feel very overwhelming, to be honest with you. But most people make it through the grieving process with the support of members of their family, and maybe support of friends or relations, and things like that. But the thing is, we have to, at the end of the day, the bottom line is that we have to find healthy ways to go through our loss. We must make sure we don't end up just being on our own, having to go over and over the loss on our own. It can be very overwhelming. And then I'll give us some tips that we can use that will be very helpful if we are going through any kind of loss. It is very crucial to take care of ourselves when we are going through loss, because there is a tendency when we go through loss even to lose appetite. Trust me, because I have been there. But we have to make a conscious effort to eat right, even when we have lost somebody, because it's very important. There is a tendency for us to just be sleeping because we just don't want to do anything. We don't feel, there is no oomph there to get us going. But we have to, one of the things we need to do is just struggle to make sure we even do some exercise, and then we get enough sleep. We shouldn't oversleep, because there is a tendency to oversleep when one is going through a loss. Then those are the times that we need to avoid a lot of bad habits like smoking or drinking alcohol and all that, particularly if it is not something we have been doing before. In fact, if it is something we are doing before, that may be the time to even try and pull it down a little bit. Then it is important for us to talk to friends who are caring. If we let them know we want to talk. If we find friends who are very caring, it's important to talk to them. Then, depending on where we're at, in many areas, there are always people who are called grief support group. In fact, some places they call them bereavement counseling group. They always have things like that. So if it is convenient, or if that is something we want, we might be able to talk to some of the people who offer such services, and then they can help. Then there is one crucial thing we should try and never do when we have just suffered a loss, and that is not to make any major changes immediately we have suffered a loss. If we have any of our loved ones that dies, we shouldn't make any major change, maybe a change of moving house or changing job. That's the wrongest time, because our emotions, our mind is not at the best of place. So if we took any kind of decision at such a time, it is not likely going to be a good decision. And then, of course, we need to talk to our doctor if that is the what we think might be helpful to us. Can talk to the doctor. But then at the end of the day, with time, we will start to, now that one would, it's not possible, for instance, when our loved one dies, to be able to forget them. It's not possible. I mean, I can't forget my mom. It's not possible. Yeah, it's still painful. It's like each time, even though it's already well over a year now, almost 2 years, but it's still, for me, it still feels like yesterday, So, but with time, with the grace of God and with people around us, we'll be able to keep. I don't always want to use the language, you will get over it. I don't like it when people tell you you get over something when you are grieving, but then you'll be able to cope. I think that's a better, a more friendlier way to talk about it. Not saying somebody will get, how can you get over losing somebody? It's not possible. I don't even like such languages at all. Now, the final thing I want us to consider, because our time is up, is that people who have good emotional health, they can still have emotional problems or mental health problems. Because mental health problem, sometimes it has a physical cause. It might be from a chemical imbalance in the brain. It might be stress from family work, from a school, from a, it could even, anything could have triggered mental illness or make it worse. But in such circumstances, it is good to seek counseling, seek support, and possibly see the doctor for support. But if we have any emotional health challenges that is ongoing, we need to talk to our doctor and get some help. I hope that's very useful for us today. And until next week, I like to say again that if you have any elderly person who wants to join our feel good session, the exercise sessions, we run them on Wednesdays and Fridays from 12 o'clock to 2 o'clock. You can email help@listeningears.org or feelgoodcenters@gmail.com. And if you have any girl between the ages of 9 and 12, sorry, 9 and 16, they can join the Rosebud Center workshops online. It runs Tuesdays to Fridays from 5 to 6 in the evening, and then on Saturdays from 11 to 1. So if you have any girl, you can go on our website, rosebudcenter.org, or you send an email to rosebudcenter@gmail.com. So until next week, and those of you who still want to support Listening Ears, please, 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 our bank details are on our website. So we greatly appreciate your donation, particularly those who have not given me my birthday present. I'm still waiting for my birthday present in terms of your thousands as donations to our charity, because I said I really don't want any birthday present. And I say that without disrespect. I just am passionate about raising funds for my charity. So please, if you are still thinking of giving me a birthday present, please donate to our charity. So until next week, Monday, when we see again, I like to say thank you for watching today. Thank you for joining me. Take care of yourself and each other, and God bless you. Thank you. Bye.